Hey guys, so today I'm going to be showing you how to make chai tea concentrate, spiced chai tea that you can just mix with any kind of milk, dairy, almond, anything, technically even water, but milk tends to work a little bit better. And you can make it as strong as you want, as spicy as you want, as sweet as you want, and it keeps for a few weeks in the fridge, and you can just pop it out. You can have it hot or cold with milk. You do need a bunch of stuff to make spiced chai concentrate, and a little bit of that depends on how much flavor that you want. I really like really spicy, really strong flavored chai concentrate. So you will need, regardless, some tea. I use black tea. Of course, if you wanted to make this not have any caffeine, you could use rooibos or red tea, or any other kind of herbal tea without like a really strong fruity flavor or anything. You'll need a bunch of it, so I just grabbed like the discount box. You will need something as a sweetener. I like to use I like more of a brown sugar taste. I think it gives it a little bit spicier of a flavor, and you can't get brown sugar necessarily in the part of Costa Rica I live in. We have something called dulce tea, which is, it says panela, but it's kind of like brown sugar. And then you need a bunch of spices. And so the main things you're going to need cinnamon, and I recommend cinnamon sticks, but powder does work if you can't find cinnamon sticks. And then the weird stuff that you're going to need to make it spicy is you'll need pepper. And so for me, I like it really spicy, so I have black pepper, like that you would grind up in a pepper grinder. And I also have powdered white pepper, because you can't get whole white peppercorns here, but you can actually get powdered white pepper, which is surprising. And then I have some allspice, which is a nice addition. Cloves. Pretty much all of the chai uses some kinds of cloves. And then I have fresh ginger, because ginger is going to make it spicy as well as give it some flavor. So I have a bunch of fresh ginger. I probably won't put all of this in there because that would be really excessive. And I have a little bit of anise, star anise, to give it more of that like licorice complex flavor, and a little bit of vanilla extract. And that's pretty much it. Other than that, you're going to need a really big pot. This is the largest one I have. It's, 6.5 quarts. I actually wish it was bigger because you need to let all the spices boil for a long time to get more flavor into the water and the chai. And some of it boils off, and then I end up with not enough chai because it does take a long time and a lot of work, so I like to make as much as possible at once. So I'm going to fill this with water, and then I'm going to start adding all of the things into it, and I'll show you approximately how much I add for this 6.5 quart pot, and you can kind of use that to make your recipe. Okay, so I filled my pot with water, maybe 3/4 of an inch from the top, just to leave room to boil, and then I turn the stove on low medium heat. I just don't want it to overboil. I will put the top on later with a wooden spoon in there just to make sure that it doesn't overboil, but I try not to lose as much through condensation as possible, through evaporation. Okay, so cinnamon. I am going to use all this cinnamon, and I will tell you how much that is in just a second. I mean, it's about a fifth's worth of cinnamon, but if we're talking about weight, it's 3 ounces of cinnamon sticks. So I'm just going to take that and I'm going to just put it in the pot. And that's another reason you can't fill it all the way to the top, is some of this stuff does weigh a little bit. And I'm going to put this in here too. So I will have to strain this, obviously. And some of the finer spices won't make it out through the strainer, but that's kind of the part about spicy chai, is like having those little bits. It's fine. Okay, so I've got 3 ounces of cinnamon sticks, and if I had more, I might put a little bit more, up to maybe like 5 ounces. Get crazy. Again, I like my chai really strong. I am going to put this whole bag of white pepper in there. And this whole bag is 1/2 ounce of white pepper, or 14.2 grams. And I really like white pepper. I love the flavor that it gives in chai. There we go. There's sweet spice chai, there's spicy chai, and then there's chai that's both. And that's what I usually end up making. So I've got I'm going to sneeze, 1/2 ounce of this white pepper. sneeze accordingly. Okay. Get that underneath so that you don't sneeze anymore. I feel another one coming on. Okay. Let's go with the star anise. And these are whole star anise bulbs. The ones that are unbroken will go all the way around like a little star. So I am going to put about 15 of these in there. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and I've only got some little crumbs left, so I'm just going to throw those in there too. So 15 whole, approximately, star anise stars. Cloves. I'm going to put this whole bag of cloves in here. It looks to be a few teaspoons, so let's see how much it actually is. Would have gone ahead and gotten a knife. The spice lady always double bags the spices here in Costa Rica because it's so humid, otherwise they would get all gross immediately. Okay, let's see what we got here for these cloves. Just go into tablespoons because I know I'm going to use all of it. One tablespoon, about a half. So about 1.5 tablespoons of cloves. And again, if you don't like it spicy, cut down on the clove use. Get everything kind of going underneath. Okay, black pepper. I'm gonna use a lot of black pepper. I got a big bag. Probably not the whole bag, but to get close. The thing is, this chai will last me a month and a half. So you spend a lot of money on spices. They're not so bad here in Costa Rica, but it'll last you a while. And if you think about it, if you're going to like Starbucks or whatever, a coffee shop, and getting, you know, medium or small chai, it's like $4 or $5 each chai. So I've got 1 tablespoon of pepper. 2 tablespoons of pepper, 3 tablespoons of pepper, 4 tablespoons, 5, it's getting a little crazier, 6, 7, okay, so I'm going to make 7 tablespoons of black peppercorn, allspice, this is powdered. All I could find. I usually like the rougher powder, but this one's really fine. Teaspoons. 1, 2, 3, 4. That looks about good. 4 teaspoons of allspice. Get that underneath. And then all I've got left to do in the spices is the ginger, because I usually wait for the sugar, and I obviously wait for the tea, because you don't want to let the tea bag spoil for, you know, an hour in the spices, because A, it'll start to get a little bit bitter, you know, if you overboil tea, and then also I don't want that much caffeine in there. So I'll put the tea in towards the end, and the sugar in towards the end as well. And then I'll take all that stuff out, and I'll strain it, wait for it to cool, put it into bottles, and stick it in the fridge. But I do want some ginger, and again, raw ginger is the best, but you can always use dry ginger. And grab a knife real quick. Okay, so I'm going to bring my little scale back out. And I love chai with a lot of ginger. I think that's what gives it a lot of flavor. Here. So I'm going to use 3. I'm going to use 5 ounces of ginger, and I'm just going to slice it up small, exposing the inside, and then throw it in there. Because I'm going to strain it out. It's not going to stay in there. Just like everything else, it's going to be strained out. So I'm just going to slice it up. More surface area of the inside of the ginger that you expose, more flavor you'll get out of it. So I just made these nice little discs. Almost all of it, and you can see I'm getting pretty full, but some of this water will boil off and then I'll be sad. I won't have as much chai. Okay, so, oh, and I do wait on the vanilla extract for later. So set aside, I have brown sugar as a sweetener. You can also use honey or agave, regular sugar. You can use stevia if you don't want any sugar. It does have kind of a weird taste, but that's totally your choice, and I understand. And especially if you're having like a sweetened milk, you might not want a sweet chai. And then the tea, of course, is set aside for later. And then what I'm just going to do with this pot is I've got a lid, and I've got a wooden spoon in it. There you can see the wooden spoon. I'm just going to cover it, but the wooden spoon's in there, so the wooden spoon's going to keep it from boiling over, and then the top, mostly on, is going to keep as much of the liquid in there as possible. We're not going to lose a bunch through evaporation. So I'm going to wait till that gets to a low boil. I'm going to keep it at a low boil, not crazy rolling or anything, and I'm going to leave that boiling for about an hour. And that's really up to you too. Depending on how strong you want your chai, you can let it boil for 30 minutes, you can let it boil for 5 hours, especially if you have a bigger pot, or even like a steam kettle or a steam pot, which has like a little nozzle to let out the steam, so there's not too much pressure, but you don't lose all the liquid. Great, let it boil for a long time. But I'm going to let mine boil for about an hour, and then I'll check back in with you guys. Hey guys, so the chai has now been boiling. Well, it's not really chai yet, but the water and spices have been boiling for a little over an hour. I've lost some of it to evaporation, but not a lot. It's this nice brown color from the cinnamon and the allspice, and everything's still whole in here. I turned down the heat all the way now, so it's just simmering. And now it's time to add the sweetener and the tea itself. And again, you can add any kind of sweetener you want. I like brown sugar, and how much you add is going to depend on how sweet you like your chai, and also what you plan on doing as far as how much of this you plan on mixing with your milk. So I like to make mine pretty strong so that I only have to use maybe 1/3 of this mixture and 2/3 milk. But some people like half and half. Some people like more chai than others. So know that even if like it doesn't come out very strong, you could just use more of it and less milk. Or if it comes out really strong, you can just use more milk. So that's kind of nice because sometimes it does have a little bit of variation, especially because I'm usually not very exact. So I put in, well, this is a 6.5 quart pan. I put in probably just over probably 6 1/4 quarts of water. So for that, I'm going to put in about 1 cup of sugar. I'm going to use, and that might seem like a lot, but this is going to last like a month. So a cup of sugar over a month doesn't really seem too bad. So again, I have dulce tea, which is like a brown sugar in Costa Rica. I don't think I have enough in this bag, but let's see what I can get. Oh, actually, pretty close to it. Those are the dogs in the background. You can see Koiko and Rue playing. Rue is very loud, but she's having fun. That's just how she plays. So no, they're not killing each other. Rui, what are you doing? She's just an Australian shepherd, and that's how they talk. Okay, so back to my sugar game. So I've got about a cup of brown sugar here. I'm just gonna put that in. Again, it's on really low heat, so it's not even really boiling right now. It's okay if it boils a little bit. So then I'm gonna put, where's my teaspoon? I don't like a lot of vanilla extract, so I'm only gonna put a teaspoon, which you probably will barely even taste in, you know, over 6 quarts of liquid. But just for that little vanilla flavor. Of course, if you're going for more of a vanilla chai, you just add more vanilla extract. And then the tea. Now, some people might want to turn off the heat completely when they add the tea if you're like really sensitive to that scalded tea taste. Quico! Shh! But you don't have to. So for 6 quarts of water, a little bit over 6 quarts of water, I'm going to probably put about 15 tea bags. Maybe 16 tea bags, just 'cause that sounds like a better number to me. Again, this is going to depend on how much caffeine you want in your chai, and also how long you let them steep, because that's going to have to do with the caffeine too, and how much chai to milk ratio you're doing, because if you're putting like a whole bunch of chai ratio, maybe you want less tea bags, but if you're barely using any, maybe you want it to be stronger. So I've got these, they come in nice packets of, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, yeah, so we'll do 16. That's easy, just 2 packets. And then basically what I'm going to let this do is I'm going to let this just kind of sit. You can turn the heat off and cover it if you want, or you can not. You can just let it keep light boiling. That'll make it a little bit thicker for about 10 minutes. If you want it less strong, do it for a shorter amount of time. If you want it stronger, do it longer, but you don't want to get that scalded flavor from black tea that's been cooked for too long. And all I'm going to do once this is done sitting is I'm going to take, you know, strainer and get the big stuff out, and then I'm just going to strain the liquid itself through a thinner strainer, let it cool off, and put it in bottles and stick it in the fridge. And yeah, that'll make me probably enough chai to have it every morning for about a month. So it's exciting. The end. That's bad.